What is going on, everybody? Zach RC here. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome along to episode number 6 of the F1 23 Driver Career Mode series here for the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix at Imola. If you guys have missed the first 5 episodes of the series, make sure to go check those out at the playlist in the top right hand corner of your screen to get yourself caught up on all the action so far. Right, in terms of this race though, upgrades coming in, 1 on aero, 1 on chassis, so 2 upgrades for the race itself, and our rivalry Sargent again closing in after Miami with 2 races to go, where we lead by 14 to 13. So it's close right now, but it could go either way. Now to start things off, we're going to change here to our in terms of our component setup. So we're making a replacement here of our turbocharger. So looking into that for ahead of the race itself. So get that sorted now before we head out on the racetrack. And as a result, we lose quite a bit of time. So 8.5 minutes left in the session. We go out for our first lap of Q1. Now, I've been on a bit of a poor run in qualifying the last couple of races. We started dead last for the sprint in Baku and last out in Miami, so I'm going to try and avoid that this time around, even if we don't make it out Q1. So on to our first flying lap then around the Imola circuit to make our way into the Tamburello chicane at turn number 1, and we'll push on towards the end of the lap itself and see where we stack up compared to everyone else towards the last 2 corners, the 2 Raptors, the left-handers to come. Into the first left-hander we go, nice and smooth on the exit, and into the last one now. Okay, get a bit of a trip there for the gravel, ever so lightly make a run to the front right tyre. But over the line here to complete our first lap, 1 minute 17.070, which puts us P18 just in front of Sargent and our teammate De Vries, but 3/10 off of what we need to get into Q2. So we'll go for one more run here on a fresh set of soft tyres, and going towards the end of the lap here, we are actually quite up on our previous efforts, but half a second up as it stands before you reach the end of sector 2, so it's a good chance we could actually make it through here, but it depends what everyone else does on their final runs, see everyone else making their way around on their outlaps for their final laps at the end of quali. So into the last sector we come then, making our way towards the 2 Raptors once more, almost half a second up then on our previous effort, so looking to try and finish this one off strong. Into the braking zone we come, braking at the 50-metre board, and into the corner we go, and one more turn to go, the left-hander a bit deeper this time, avoiding the gravel and keeping it out the gravel trap there. So coming towards the line here, we're going to improve about 4/10 or so, 1 minute 16.6 is enough for P15, so it's very narrow as we reach the end of the session, but unfortunately it was not enough and we got knocked out in Q1, starting back in P18 for the race. Joining us in the drop zone, Magson, Albon, Sargent, and De Vries, who starts dead last. But that's a good qualifying if you ask me, better than the last 2 rounds. So we'll see if we can make anything of it during the Grand Prix. So let's jump right into the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix, the race itself, and see what happens.
Well, today's venue has a full name that is perhaps lesser known than its informal one. So today we're at Imola, or to give it its official title, the Autodromo Internazionale Enzo e Dino Ferrari, named after their legacy. A beautiful tribute at a beautiful circuit. It's time, everyone, for the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. 1 lap of Imola, anti-clockwise of course, unlike most Formula 1 circuits, will take our drivers around 3.1 miles of track. 19 turns, 9 right-handers and 10 to the left. Drivers will need to be precise at the hairpin at turn 7, given the subsequent uphill section. Without a good exit from that corner, they'll lose a lot of time on that stretch. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Russell, Leclerc, Sainz, Perez, Norris, Fernando Alonso, Oscar Piastri, Gasly, Ocon, Bottas, Stroll, Hülkenberg, Joe, Magnussen, Albon, Cohen, Sargent, and Nick De Vries. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. With the Grand Prix nearly upon us, Anthony Davidson is by my side once again to offer his perspective. Let's talk about Cohen. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
After the points finished last race, let's aim to keep that momentum going.
More points sound good. Big race for the team as well. Let's do this. On the grid now then for the start of the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix from P18 on the grid. It's a big race. It's the first the 2 Italy races this season. Of course, this one here and one in Monza later on in the season. So a big race for Alphatauri to try and get some points on the board at home. In terms of strategy, going to pit on lap number 14 for a fresh set of hard tyres. Go to the end on those, starting on the mediums. And again, like I said in the last episode, guys, it's the first episode we're going to have we're going to get rid of the increased tyre wear mod, because I felt it was just too frustrating in terms of having to. I found myself very stressed during the race itself. You could argue that that's part of the element of Formula 1, but I decided to go back to the regular one here, so we won't have too many issues there. And hopefully the race will be as entertaining as the last few have been, because Miami was an absolute thriller. So if you guys haven't seen that one, make sure to go check that one out before you see the start of this one. So lining up now at the start for the race itself, alongside Alex Albon in P17 there on our left-hand side, pulling in to get into our grid box correctly. We're going to try and move it to the left a bit, try and see if we can jump in front of Albon off the line. So into our grid slot there, nice and clean, and getting ready now for the start. On the front row, it's Hamilton and Verstappen, 5 red lights for the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix here at Imola. And it's lights up, foot to the floor, go, go, go. Solid getaway of Albon, but Hulkenberg backs us up a huge amount there. We gain nothing from that. Hulkenberg really got bogged down off the line, and as a result, we lose out to potentially taking Albon. I'm going to try and go on the outside of Hulkenberg and Albon here to go through turn number 1. We're trying to take Joe as well on the inside through turn 2, over the sausage curbs a little bit there, but holding on to P15 at several places gained now after that. What looked to be a terrible start. We were almost doomed to sit behind Hulkenberg there. We got away with it though. Into Villeneuve chicane, chasing down Kevin Magnussen now for P14. He's got Lance Stroll just in front of him. Hamilton leads away. I believe Russell's taken second place as well. So fantastic start from Mercedes then. We'll have to try and focus on our own race here and catching K-Mag in front. On to the lap number 2 now. DRS getting deployed at the start of lap 3. So within 1 second, Magnussen might not be. He's got his hands full trying to take Lance Stroll into turn 1. And we got to keep focused because Albon will be there behind us as well, looking to try and take advantage of any slip up, but he'll close in regardless, thanks to the DRS. Just the one DRS zone on the circuit. That's down that very long main straight. So it goes from more or less the line up to the first corner. Albon there behind us. Lucky there's no DRS going to Villeneuve. He's up there. Coming to end lap number 3 now. Albon has his first taste of that DRS, charging down the main straight here and towards turn number 1. He's going to pull to the right hand side and take away P15 off us as he goes towards Tamburello. Joe closing as well. Might go for the outside. He will go for the outside. I have to cover him off there. And into turn 1 we go behind Alex Albon. So unfortunately to lose a place there, but we have to do what we can to try and make that one back and keep an eye on Joe, who's giving us constant pressure from behind. Pushing on towards the end of lap number 4 now. Got a spin behind us. Yellow flag is out. It looks like it's Nico Hulkenberg who spun out to take a slight run through the grass there on our left tyre. I've had a look at the replay what's happened to the German here, because only a few races back into his return to Formula 1, so Haas in trouble here. Hulkenberg spins out, just gets too much on the throttle out of the chicane, and that's just what can happen. So he has to turn the car around very slowly. He's going to lose a lot of time here before he gets back on the racetrack. But that's one less car behind us we have to worry about for the time being. So we'll keep on focusing on trying to retake Albon, but Joe is all over us here, will not let us go as we come towards Minerali on lap number 6. Albon away to about almost a second advantage, so we may lose out on DRS if he gets any further away from us. He's too busy chasing down Lance Stroll. As we come down the main straight once again, Joe now right behind us, DRS deployed. He's on the left hand side there going towards turn 1 and takes us with relative ease there. So up into P16 he goes, back down to P17. That's several places we gain on start. We've now lost 2 of those places, and now Sargent, De Vries and Hulkenberg, the cars, still behind us here. We'll have to work on chasing Joe back down here to come towards the main straight at the end of lap number 7, and now it's our turn to have DRS and try and make a move for the first time in this Grand Prix. DRS is deployed, going to look to the right hand side, make the left hand side, sorry, going towards that first corner. Down the main straight we come, pulling alongside the Alfa Romeo, and by the time we get to Tamburello, going to try and pull clear. Yes, we do pull clear. Good move there to get in front by the first corner, and it was very tight too. We've managed to make it work quite nicely.
Good job, nice overtake.
Alright, let's keep this up. Brilliant stuff there, voicing our appreciation to the team radio there. Joe coming back at us now on lap number 9. They'll pull to the right hand side and get through in front of us nice and easy. It's a bit of a ding-dong battle here, going back and forth between the pair of us. So whoever has the DRS more or less is going to come out in front. On the very next lap, lap number 10, we're going to jump back in front of him. We're side by side into the Tamburello chicane though. Yeah, we haven't quite got in front, and Joe takes advantage of that. We can't go over the sausage curbs there. Don't want to lose out. Joe gets back in front, so he's actually managed to hold on to that position. Let's try and get him back here before we go into the Villeneuve chicane. Try and go for it here. Pulling no punches, and try and switch back on him here out of the chicane. He goes across the track and gives us the full advantage to go dancing around the outside. Into the left-hander at Tosa we come, and around the outside of the Alfa Romeo. He's still alongside us there. Fantastic battle. Getting a better drive off though, and up into P16 once again. It took a bit longer than usual there, but we've managed to make it stick. And Joe, though he's still giving us pressure, we've got in front of him for the moment. And now looking towards our pit strategy here on the next couple of laps, as Joe continues to pressurise us all the way around, making our way onto lap number 14 where our first pit stop will come into play. So into the pit lane we come now, hitting the pit limit just in time. They're very lucky to avoid it in that respect. Some sort of glitch on the limiter in terms of the graphic on the top there. Regardless, we're into the pits, no penalty done and now looking for that correct turn in. The aim will be to try and get back out in front of Joe, De Vries and Sargent, and Hulkenberg is closing back in too. So hard tides going back on the car. 2.3 seconds stop, we're away, nice and easy there. Yellow flag. That's one of the Aston Martin, so it's got a problem. Might be Lance Stroll, may have spun out there. Not quite sure what's happened. I don't believe it is Lance Stroll, yes. So we'll see if that has any impact on his race. We may come out closer than we expect thanks to that spin. Back out the pit lane now and looking to try and gain some time on this lap before everyone else comes in. See if we can get further in front of Joe and the cars just behind him. So on to the end of lap number 15 now, on to lap 16, nearing the halfway stage of this Grand Prix. Several cars in the pits. De Vries, Albon, Bottas all in, Magson's in as well. And those three pack in front of us, but De Vries is still behind us there as we make our way out the pit lane. There we go, past pit lane, sorry. There he goes out of the pits. And we're now up in front of him by quite a distance once again, up into P19, no longer last of the running cars. And now looking on towards the rest of the pack, pitting the rest of that pack, we're chasing Joe, Hulkenberg and Sargent, all going into the hard tyres. So here they come now towards the pit exit. It's going to be very, very close between us here. Sargent is closing in on the pit exit. They come out in front of all three of them here by quite a margin. So this strategy has paid off. So once again, the pit crew coming into clutch, and we're up into P16 once again, so far ahead in front of those cars. On to lap number 20 now, and trying to close the gap on Gasly and Magnussen, but he's only getting away here a bit too deep into the first reflector and into the second one now, trying to avoid the gravel once again, but De Vries has closed the gap. He's right there behind us now, within a second. So next up we'll get DRS, not this one because he was just outside of it at the detection point, but at this rate, and the next lap through, he will get us. On to lap number 21 we go, and De Vries closing us all the time. As you come further into the lap, only a couple of corners later, he's within half a second, so we're definitely struggling on these hard tyres. It's a real problem that we're trying to avoid here. And we're going to go a bit wide there into Tosa by mistake, and there goes De Vries taking full advantage. The other rookie goes siding up the inside and takes away P15. Let's try and get him back here, but keep our eye out because Logan Sargent isn't too far behind either. I'm going to try and get around De Vries into the left-hander at turn number 9, not going to get there. Into Emilia we go and try and chase him down as best we can, and going towards the two Rivazzi. Yellow flag in front. That's one of the McLarens at the exit of Tamburello, and will be a free place for us if it's a retirement. I have to see who that is as De Vries gets away down the main straight. It's Lando Norris who's out of the race here. De Vries is pulling away, but Sargent's closing in on us. Have a look at the replay here of what's happened to Norris in the last lap or so. It looks like there's some kind of internal problem. There's no smoke coming from the car, which is unusual, but regardless, you can clearly see he's slowing up. And there goes Alonso, but that's Alonso going around him. And now off into the pit, off into the side of the track, comes Lando Norris, and that's his race over, unfortunately. So that'll be a free place for us if we can try and hold on to this position here with Sargent behind us. But there he goes to the left-hand side, going straight on through, up into P16. We've now lost 2 places here. We're going to try and get them both back before they pull away, and that's our race over. So just closing on them all the time, trying to make that move, we'll try and get them as close as we can. There's Norris on your left-hand side, going around him, closing on Sargent, trying to make a move. He's getting away from us here. Let's try and take a bit more aggressive into the Vienna chicane. We've gone over the curb there, and off into the gravel.
Are you alright? Engine off, engine off.
I'm so sorry, guys. I went in too fast and couldn't get out of the gravel in time, and that was it. Engine's off. I'm okay.
Yet another historic win under their belts. Well done to the whole team at Mercedes. Tell me, Ant, how do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve it.
Hamilton then leads to Mercedes 1-2 with Russell second and Verstappen in third, but I can't believe that our first retirement in our Formula 1 career, and a crash out of the Villeneuve chicane, off into the gravel we went, and that was our race over, unfortunately. So hopefully it won't be as many of those as the season comes by. Rookie mistake, unfortunately. We'll actually have to move on to the next race in Monaco, which hopefully go a bit better, but in terms of this one, Emilia we want to just forget about and just try not to think about it and move on to the next race, because that's the mistake we don't be making as the season continues on.
Some amazing talent out on the track today, but Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
Well, for me, it's got to be Lewis Hamilton. The multiple world champion may be the boring choice at this point, but you can't argue that he's a driver deserving of his reputation.
Let's move on to the constructors. The lead at the top comes down after a strong weekend from the challenging pack. I'm equal parts exhausted and elated with this weekend of Formula 1, so be sure to join us for the next one.
there's your final results then. A difficult day in Imola, compounded by a crash with just 12 more laps to go, 11 laps to go, sorry. And second of the 2 retirements there. And just an unfortunate thing would have to happen. We didn't want that to go down. But Sargent beats De Vries in the end, so he managed to come out on top over our teammate, who didn't do too well holding him off, and Joe got through as well. So unfortunate race for Alphatauri, not that they wanted in one of our home Grand Prix. So in terms of Drivers' Championship, then our position is unchanged. Still 12 points to our name, as tied with Lance Stroll. Logan Sargent just 2 behind after the points he scored in Miami. Looking at your constructor standings as well, Red Bull lead by 44 points to Mercedes. Alphatauri still there in 8th place, only 12 points scored. Tied with Alfa Romeo and still 1 point off Williams. So nothing lost there. And hopefully in the next race we'll be able to try and close that back up, try and get that extra point back from them, and maybe even move in front. But for now then, guys, that's the end of this video. I do hope you've enjoyed this one. If you did, then make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more F1 content. I've been Zach Ossie, and until the next video, you guys have an absolutely fantastic day, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good day, guys, and goodbye.